Hey everybody, welcome back. So a lot of stuff going on in the game at the moment. I've been asked by a lot of people what my opinions are, what I think, to take action for some things, to collaborate with people, to push some things. So I want to talk about all kinds of stuff, from the sale to some of the things that were just mentioned in the Strike Time video to where I'm at with this game in general and my outlook in the future in my mind. You know, a lot of people seem to be frustrated and they've asked my opinion and what I've thought, and I want to share it with you guys. If you're not on my Discord, you know, the link's below. I talk about how I feel a lot there, talk with my alliance mates, etc. So anyway, let's get to some of this stuff.
WolverThor!
Okay, first things first. Disney is to sell Fox Next to Scopely. This deal is not finalized yet, but it is the plan. So, you know, there's a link here that kind of goes through it. There were some other news articles kind of covering it. And then there was a bunch of stuff on Reddit about this. My thoughts are initially wait and see. I'll get into that in a second, but generally speaking, my overall demeanor is don't jump to quick conclusions about anything, no matter what the past might be. I do that for a multitude of different reasons. I try to stay as even-keeled as I can in that regard. I like to give people, until they really prove themselves otherwise, the chance. So, you know, that's a positive and a negative thing, but that's my general outlook in life, and so it applies here too. So having said that, reading some of these things about the game or this company do worry me a little bit. I think OMG did a really good video. If you guys haven't seen that, he's got a really good outlook on some of this type of stuff coming from the finance industry with his background and, you know, being part of some acquisitions and understanding how those work. I'll share some information that I know from talking to some people over at Fox Next as well. But I think generally speaking, he made a good point about, you know, if Fox Next were to be the company that bought Scopely, what would, you know, the Looney Tune players be looking at the MSF players and what would they be saying? And I think he made a good point that MSF players would probably be saying a lot of the same stuff. Now, having said that, I've never played any of these Scopely games, but I have heard some of them are very pay to win. One of my former alliance mates played the Walking Dead game, I believe it is, and just said you could just dump tons and tons of money in that game just to win. Like the war game that they had there is you could pay to keep healing, and you just pay to keep healing until the other team gave up. So, you know, hopefully stuff like that doesn't come to this. That would be very disappointing in my mind. I will, for all the crap that I give Fox Next, I do think, generally speaking, that they don't go over the edge in that regard, because that to me is like, don't touch the game bad. And, you know, while I might be frustrated with certain things with this game, it hasn't gotten to that level. So I think that if we can avoid those type of things, that I think this might not be that bad of a situation. But it all really depends on, you know, how much freedom is Fox Next and the group that's there going to have. You know, OMG mentioned this in his video as well, that the folks at Fox Next, or now Fox Next, have been a number of different companies, starting from Kabam to Aftershock and acquired by Disney. Knowing some people over there, in knowing, like, basically seeing all those transitions, you know, these things happen. It's a dog-eat-dog world. It's a lot of money out there. You're going to get people selling and buying things a lot, and you never know what's going to happen. So having said that, the folks there, at least a good majority of them, are used to this. So my hope is that Scopely sees what's happening at Fox Next, says, you know what, we've got a pretty good game here. Let's not mess with this too much. Let's let them, you know, Amir and all those guys do what they need to do and collect the profits. You know, I'm sure there's going to be some creative discussions there where Scopely's going to want certain things. But my hope is that Fox Next can still keep a little bit of their, like, look, we're not going to make war where you can pay to heal up your team. because that would be I would just stop playing War, and if that was a factor, I'd just be like, I can't do this, because for me, that's a gambling dynamic. I'm not going to endorse it. As much as I want to do this channel for content and pushing it forward, I'm not going to endorse things that I believe are actually unhealthy for people in that regard. So anyway, having said that, I think it's okay. Wait and see. For those who do want to boycott, I think hold off for the time being. I understand your frustrations. I understand your concerns. I know why you're thinking that. But I think that let's see what happens first, because once this deal even gets inked, it's going to be months until there's even some sort of interaction. So nothing that's going to happen in the next few months is going to have any indication of what's this acquisition from Scopely. So I think let's just kind of wait and see there a little bit. I think more importantly for me, I want to see how the game's adjusting. And for this, we kind of got to shift over to the Marvel Strike Time video that just came out. So I'm not gonna play this necessarily, but a Marvel Strike Time video just came out. You can kind of see, Cerebro was talking in the background. He had one of the game developers going on, and my personal hope for this game at the moment, for getting the Strike Time video, is that I need quality of life improvements. I need fun improvements. I need to reduce screen time in the game. I've got a family, I have a job, I have a social life. I need to be able to tend to those things. And if I, depending on my requirements from Marvel Strike Force, it's kind of like, well, if you tend to your family, you're not going to be able to, hit arena at payout, or, get Blitz, get the high scores in Blitz that you need because you're missing a few runs. And that to me is a little bit unfortunate. So anyway, that's my focus for a second. So I'm gonna, sum up Too Long Didn't Read, a little bit of what, is happening in the background with Cerebro and what he's talking about. And I'm gonna talk about what I think these things are and how it's gonna affect the game going forward. Because right now, and this was before this Strike Time video, I'm really looking to see what changes in the game as far as patches through the April-May patch. That's really, for me, where I'm going to, look hard at myself, look hard at the game and go, what do I want out of this game? Where am I at with this? What do I think my future is with it? And what do I think my content future for the game is going to be? So anyway, having said that, the Too Long Didn't Read of this Strike Time video behind me, first off, a Human Torch is going to the Arena store. Great. He was just given a node, Arena store. I've got tons of credits there. I'm happy to be able to farm a character. It's guaranteed Human Torch. Good. So that means Mr. Fantastic is then going to Human Torch's old node at Nexxus 5.9. So, that's good. I think it's fine. I'll address some farming things in a second as far as characters go. And then they also mentioned in this is the Nexxus campaign. They said, yes, this is coming in 2020. They did not give any specifics to when, but there are additional chapters coming out for Nexxus the Nexxus campaign. We've been talking about this for a while. It's definitely happening. We just don't know when. So it sounds like it's gonna roll out over time for this year. I'd love to get one of those in the next month, honestly, or 2 months. But it sounds like it could be a little bit further based on the fact that they were saying sometime this year. Next up, we knew this one from the data mine already, the new tier challenges. The developer mentioned 1 to 2 per. There was no timeline given, so it would be interesting if the tier challenges is that it is, multiple tiers harder, and so that they're in game for a while, and it's going to take us a while to beat them. Next up, as well as a blue gear, this was also in a data mine. The developer, John, said that, Alt 7 wasn't the right spot in their mind. I can't disagree with that. I don't necessarily fully agree with it, but the reason I can't disagree is because where they put it. They put it in the daily milestones. I'm okay with that. As much as it's an RNG farming situation, if I really need blue syringes, I can go farm those in a node if I need to. So there is kind of a passive way to get this blue gear. I'm not all that upset about it. It's fine. It is what it is. Next up, they did bring up the general concept of farming characters. So specifically the ones that have been out for a while. He didn't mention them, but I've got to think it's, the Colossus, it's the Elsa, it's the Ghost Rider. Maybe Black Widow. I don't want to go as far as to say it's Minerva, but maybe some Asgardians, but he didn't say that. So he said that they're working on it and that they want to bring those to a farmable location. But again, we know that, trademark coming soon could be next year. But so I'm not really holding on to that one too much. The next up he said is that, and this one could be a big one for me, I've mentioned this a little bit, is Blitz changes. They talked about the time required for this game mode, Blitz specifically, and it is too much. They recognize that. They said they're working on something. I personally believe it's the simulator that I've been talking about. I think they're going to find ways to potentially sim this. I know some people don't love it, but I think in general it will help with quality of life, and I think that's worth it, just because of the screen time that this game requires. Next up, and I think this was probably the biggest thing in the Strike Time video, was that Dark Dimension 3 is going to be here in either late January or early February. They're working on getting the kinks out, but it's not done yet. It sounds like they're just trying to fine-tune it some. He didn't talk about what any of the rewards were, but I'm starting to think that it might not be Doctor Doom, but it might be several characters on each of the different stations where it's regular, global, cosmic city. So you can get 4 potential characters from this. I think it's going to be the Black Order. I think that you're potentially going to either unlock them through that first run and maybe at 5 stars, and then maybe the second run gets you 7. I don't know. But I don't know why, but I know those tunes are coming to the game based on some rumors. I know then, whatever. But I think that might be the way they go there. So I could see that happening. Next up, they talked about ISO 8, which nobody's really looking forward to at the moment. They said that they were going to take out the RNG aspects of this. I did do the play test, and I have to admit that was one of my concerns, is that this is too random. You've already got way too much RNG in the game. Don't make it so that it's just, a little bit of this stat combined with a little bit. It reminds me of Diablo, where you never know what stat you're going to get on an item, and it just is terrible. So they didn't, again, say when this is going to come out, but one of the things I thought was very interesting is that when you max an ISO out, that he was saying that it might be able to, you might have a choice of a passive upgrade. I find that interesting, so you might be able to choose a path. I've seen stuff like that with, World of Warcraft, where you get to pick certain things in trees. I don't hate that. It's interesting. It could be tough for PvP things, because depending what a character picks, if it's, more dodge or more, crit or something, it might be like, well, I take a different team to fight it. But that's kind of how those game modes work, as far as you get different passives or different, trait trees that you're going to run. The next one is the new game mode. So they were very cryptic about this. I did a video on this a while back. I fully believe that what they're hinting at here is the draft mode PvP for your friends and potentially alliance mates. I guess you could have your alliance mates on your friend list. But I think that's what this is. Everything I'm seeing continues to point back to this game mode. It was some information that I had a while back. I'll put the link in the video for that video in the description below. I won't go into detail of it, other than say, it's a draft mode PvP matchup for fun. No rewards based, that you get, but maybe a daily reward, and I'm good with that. Call it a danger room, so to speak. I think that would be great. And then last of this video is Cyclops. They didn't give a timeline or a method for the release. We know it's coming soon because it's in this patch, but it was mentioned. So I'm still speculating that might be a milestone there, but we'll see. So that's what I got. Again, I'm still cautiously optimistic for the game. I'm still playing, trying to stay positive. I'm hoping for some good things. I understand everyone's skepticism. Again, my personal opinion is I'm really waiting till the April-May patch to see what quality of life things change in those months. That's really going to tell me what the direction of this game's going at the moment. And if they don't have those, I want to ask some serious questions about why, because we've been talking about it since August and September of last year, and that's a lot of time to be able to fix things. So that's where I'm at with it. I hope you guys kind of got something from this. Try to stay positive if you can. If the game is negatively affecting your life, I do encourage you to step away, or at least tone it down a bit, because no game is worth it. Your health, your life, your family, your friends, you need to take care of yourself over anything else. So if you're finding this game is negatively affecting you, I do recommend stepping away for a bit, at least maybe taking a break or going more casual. See if you can make it to that April-May range. See if the game is giving you things that you want, and if not, then you can walk away cleanly if you're really, debating it. So anyway, thanks for stopping by. Zeke's is dancing in the background, and hammer down on that like button, notification bell, share with your alliance mates, tell your grandmas, grandpas, all these type of things. Join my Discord server, links below. Try to chat there as much as I can. Got the Patreon below. You can go to that page and see kind of the different tiers. And until next time, have a fantastic day.